Well, good evening. I'm Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypnoacuity 7 Ways Why podcast. I renamed my podcast from Cowboy Wisdom to 7 Ways Why podcast because 7 Ways Why is an inquisitive and makes you curious about life. Presenting 7 ways why I stopped being a servant to my egotistical arrogance. Something I realized that I pay attention to the everyday life around the world. And I realized for the last 20 years, you take medicine and technology out of it, it stays the same. And what's happened in the last 20 years, we've went down the creepy hole of control where everybody wants control. And the more technology we actually have, the more we're controlled, but we also have where they watch what we say and they have fact checkers that aren't really fact checkers, and what they do is they control our speech, and that's against the Constitution. But people with the wealthy people don't want the common or the blue collar people telling the truth. No, the biggest lie in the world is truth and reality, because it's all tied to somebody's viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs. And that when you go into your beliefs, opinions, and viewpoints, you go into the creepy hole of control and the comfort zone of your own manipulation, and that all comes from the ego and things like that. The egotistical arrogance within us. We never want to be wrong, or we never want to have the shortcomings of ourselves pointed out to us. Of course, I don't have any. I admitted it to my ego. My ego told me I didn't have any shortcomings. Nope, I have none. But my spirit, integrity, and core values, they're not so nice about that. They tell me I do. And I do. But I don't have to be in the creepy hole of control. That's my new favorite saying, creepy hole of control. Because there's sabotaging spiders, snakes, big lizards, and everything down there to scare me. And that's like coming out of the hole. I'm in a comfort zone down there with all the snakes and the spiders. It's when I come out of the hole into the light that sends my egotistical arrogance. Woo, 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 woo. Know-it-all ignorance. Woo. So it really keeps me stuck. So ask me, why is the world stuck in egotistical arrogance, know-it-all ignorance, with people too stubborn to admit the challenges of the world are locked because we're locked in hard-headed knowing, education, indoctrinated education, ancestor mindsets. Business is the only way for the world to exist. Mindsets. A third world enslaving mindset, actually, from business. And there's a guy running for Congress. He wants people to work longer. You know, the thing about life is it starts with leisure, invigorating fun every day. But we're so afraid that people to have fun, and we're so caught up in a busy, productive world that our hard-headed ignorance takes over. And you know, there's something about it. That guy, if you look at him, his face is torture. He's in internal pain because, like all tyrants, they're looking for love, but they don't know how to get it. So they think by inflicting pain on people, they'll get love from some people. And that is why the world is the way it is. So I listened to the worldly rhetoric of the rhetoric. The world is egotistically arrogant with snobbish know-it-all ignorance. As I smell the fragrance of frustration through the airways of the world that has the world medicated and victimitis crapitis because, oh, my ancestors went through the Civil War. My ancestors did this. Oh, I need reparation. All reparation is trying to get something for free. because there is nothing to do with slavery right here and now, except there is. Because the egotistical, arrogant people, they think they own people, and that's where the sex trade and the child labor and things like that that's been going on since the beginning of time is still going on today. So where has the world really risen out of anything our ancestors did, except for technology, medicine, and that? But how is technology actually stealing the innovation of people? That is something that's really unique. And how is medication actually being used in a way that isn't always what they say it is? And today, people get just disjointed whenever they hear something that tweaks the squeaky wheel, their squealing socialized way of life. And anything outside of their viewpoints, opinions, beliefs, people get mad and frustrated. But it can't be true because viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs are subconscious mind, frozen in time representations of yesterday. And if you listen to the world and with a observer's optimism, you can you hearken all the control in the world. And something that's something I pay attention to is a guy by when you listen to some of these congressional hearings, it gets really funny. People are legislating and talking about something they have no clue about, but yet they were told to do this. The education steals the common sense and the wisdom from people. This is something I've said, and I'll say it again. I was a union electrician. We had wiser conversations at a break table than the congressional hearings had. And the congressional hearings, you can really pick up on, they're liars. The thing about the people of the world, you want to rise the people out of the current situation, we have to get forthright about what's going on and honor our core values, because the world is the most corrupt place there is right now. If our founding fathers were alive today, we'd probably have hailstorms of lead going through the air. But and how is the education and the lawyers and everything made the world more egotistically arrogant, know-it-all ignorant, frustrated about anything, afraid of anything beyond their indoctrinated education, degree, third world enslaving mindsets, stuck inside the degree of disagreeing about anything and everything that is outside of the boundaries of their socialized learned ways. And that's something I really, really started to pick up on. You watch people walk around with them three-piece suits on, their feet must stink. They got their nose so high in the air. But all that is there. And see, something you really have to open up to, the corporate America in the high-end business world, they're in competition for the taxpayers' money. And the difference is the corporations pay campaign contributions and the regular people pay their wages. Something I understand as a union electrician, if we did as poor a job as Congress did, we'd get blackballed and never be able to work again. That's the egotistical arrogance I'm talking about. And you watch them stick their nose up, and especially like the leaders in Congress, they act like they've done nothing wrong. But all they are is corruption in action. And as I realized the inequality, snobbishness of college education and people and business people and people with lavish wealth and money have created an unseen barrier between the people of the world, the blue collar, the craftsman, that goes unseen. They think because they have money, they have something. But something people are going to get an awakening to. Just because you have money, money comes and goes. Wisdom, insight, and clarity and innovation are your assets. And you can have all the money in the world, but if you aren't a good person, you are morally corrupt and bankrupt. And that's where the world is today, is morally corrupt and bankrupt. They can have all that money they want, but you have to look at the world on a surface. And people have done things. And something I must say, anytime you take a drink of alcohol for the first time or do drugs for the first time, you have a 50% chance of becoming a drug addict or an alcoholic, especially if you have a good time doing it. I've drank enough beer. When me and a friend of mine both quit drinking, Coors Beer laid off 25 people. It isn't that I've never done it. I'm realizing the failure of doing it. But I haven't had a drink of alcohol in 25 years. It's the best thing I ever did. But what I'm saying here is, and somebody I heard today that AA only has a 10 or 12% success rate. And the thing I've heard, people that come out, one thing, all the rehabilitation and all the addiction centers, rehabilitation centers, they never say one sentence: I'm liberated from everything. They want to keep people in the mindset circulating about their addiction rather than saying I'm liberated from everything, and letting go internally brightens every day. And when you start using liberation over heal and all this other stuff, you rise out of it. And see, that's something I'm really starting to understand. We're stuck in the muck of our egotistical arrogance. I have to be right, and I'm this, and I have to be that. Pick me. Hell, I was there, still am. But I'm waking up, I'm rising out of it. Because I understand the egotistical arrogance. And, people, we have people having severe challenges in this country. But the severe challenges ain't anybody's responsibility but theirs. And there's ways to get out of it. But most people are stuck in their inner dialogue of I'm not good enough and I'm owed something. Most people go into this thinking the world owes them something. And that's egotistical arrogance. And the more I realize the world owes me zilch. I'm invited here to rise of wisdom, insight, clarity, intuition, artistic agility to rise people out of the situations. We were invited to Earth to rise the world out of all the muckety muck that's going on. But there's more muckety muck going on now, war and unsettling places in the world than any time in history. Or maybe not, because we hear about it. But the thing about it, the leaders of this country are still stuck in their egotistical, know-it-all ignorance, hard-headed thinking and knowing, I'm right, this is mine. The world is too selfish and corrupt to move forward. Because one thing there is in war and all the corruption, there's big money. And something I realized in the world and all the stuff, I've been doing the marketing and stuff. One thing about a marketer, I stay away from most of them. I'm here to show the people the way I expanded my life with Cowboy Wisdom, Hypno Acuity, and now 7 ways why I give myself permission to rise out of the corruption of the world. And just because you look at how many, the corruption of the world, if we actually had a corruption of the world and they did monopolies now and they tore monopolies apart like they did the phone companies, most of these companies would be going sideways. Something I realize now, as long as it's making corporations money and paying campaign contribution, there isn't nothing illegal. What's illegal is a poor guy driving down the street speeding, and now that's a big deal. See, something you want to realize, we need law enforcement, but also law enforcement and the court system is big money for the state and the government. But you only have, in the arrogance of the court system is, if you have enough money, there's never, you're free of the court system. And you know something else that is, it's the arrogance of the court system that everybody dislikes. It's like policemen. 1 out of 100 are probably just like you and me. We're not always perfect on every day. You know, some days you just get tired of the bullshit. And that's when you have it. But see, it's the arrogance of people. And something you can really tell, when you look somebody in the face or see their picture, you can see their arrogance. And the biggest arrogance in a picture is the forced smile. If it ain't a natural smile, they're living a fallacy. And most of the, something I'm going to say here, 2 words that don't go with spirit, intuition, imagination, innovation, free-flowing energy, is thinking no. You can never listen thinking no and hearken your intuition, imagination, because a thinking memory mind is binded in memory into the subconscious mind. So that's where the world is stuck in egotistical arrogance. We all are. If you think you're smarter and better than somebody, you're lying to yourself. Because everybody in the world has a nugget of wisdom for you to expand. And look at the world today. We've been living and through the thinking, knowing of politicians and this, and we're so good. We're worse off now than we were in 1993, to me. You know, the last 20 years, the world has went straight downhill. Business and education has us stuck in the muck of egotistical arrogance, know-it-all ignorance. And you watch them guys get on TV and talk about business. And that's good. But does business rise everybody? You can't say business and corporations are good when they move things offshore and they pitted the American worker against 25 cents an hour in China. And then the congressmen get up there, you got to compete. The biggest liar in the world is the one that said compete. What they're saying is you do what we say. And one thing egotistical arrogance does is shuts off communication. I now realize communication flows as arrogance, egotistical arrogance, know-it-all ignorance stops the flow of communication. Because when you think you're already smarter than the other one, you're already hearing what they say, but never listening to what they really are saying. And, you know, I witnessed this a lot with safety people when I was on the job. The biggest joke were the safety people. They think they had the power, but they didn't have the power. We give them the power. But what I'm saying is, just because somebody has a title, that doesn't mean anything. Because the people with a title will never tell. People with wisdom will never tell you they have a title. Egotistical arrogance, know-it-all ignorance, insecurity, and immaturity, they'll tell you they have a title. And titleocracy is just sheepleocracy stepping in turdocracy. In other words, just pure bullshit. But if you really look at the world and you look at all the world, you watch Wall Street, there's egotistical arrogance. And they know a lot about making money, but they have zero communication with people that actually make them the money. The blue-collar people and hourly worker actually make the money for a lot of them people. They think they make it by investments. But we don't realize money is like a tree. The workers are at the roots, and it goes up. And you keep the stop watering the roots. Eventually, the top is coming down. And if you look at the world, it's very, very careful. And when I listen to all these money people on TV, I don't, because they always have an underlying current of "I want your money." Because wealth and money show people that encompass the wisdom to get wealthy and flush with money. However, a rising revelation, wealthy people forget it was communication that rose them to their wealth. Say that again. Wealthy people think it was them that rose them to wealth, but wealth rises through wisdom and revelations and communication with people. And when you forget how you get to the top, karma has a way of bringing you back down to earth. But wisdom gets wealthy people to wealth and flush with money. However, a rising revelation, wealthy people forget it was communication that rose them to their wealth. As I awaken to the gumption to stop being a servant to my comfort zone, egotistical arrogance, know-it-all ignorance, hard-headed thinking, stubborn knowing, that are my limitation, barriers, and blockages. And I have to be right about everything. That was a big one for me. I'm right, you're wrong. Then I get bit in the ass, look stupid. I did that good, though. If you're going to do it, you might as well be a professional. Everybody does it. And hard-headed knowing and socialized sheepocracy, medicated, indoctrinated education, manipulating third world enslaving mindsets, ancestor viewpoints, opinions, and my self-manipulating fears, immaturities, insecurity, trauma. That what had me in my hole of control, in my egotistical arrogant hole of control. Because the outside world triggers me internally, that activates my thinking and knowing. But see, if I listen to it, I never get my thinking and knowing and memories never get activated. So if I listen, I glisten. But if I think and know, I get wound and bound in outside world control, all passed away 2 seconds ago. As I awaken to realize and esteem, I listen to my daily scampers, questioning my daily events, encounters, events, and out of everywhere dares, hearkening the life-expanding wisdom, insight, and clarity, understanding my life-liberating invitation, flaunting emancipating elegance, dances me out of yesterday, chauffeurs the enlightened me of here and now as I hark my safari sparking revelation, as I feel peace flow through my veins of visionary epiphanies, intuits nomadic nous energizes my arteries of artistic acumen, agility, abilities, and daredevil audacity. Shows the world I am uniquely beautiful, exuding bold, endeavoring acuity. Unsheaths my trailblazers' frequencies of foresight, illuminates my trails of triumph that effortlessly guides me on to my seashores of stunning blessings of love, fun, wealth, health, and liberation. An inspiration yachting me on my seas of pristine bliss, now and forevermore. I soar of stunning, optimistic, appreciating, rebellious gusto gratitude with a bellowing thank you to the universe and all people. I want to thank you for listening to 7 Ways Why podcast. And the reason for 7 Ways Why, it opens up a curiosity for you. And and may your day and life be as blessed as you are a blessing to me in the world.